Good afternoon. Let us discuss today's current affairs. Yesterday, November 26th, we have celebrated as Constitution Adoption Day. Indian Constitution came into force on 26th January 1950. Indian Constitution came into force on 26th January 1950. The preamble to our Constitution is adopted on 26th November 1949. Our Constitution was adopted on 26th November. For that reason, 26th November is celebrated as Constitution Adoption Day. Next important current affair is Spike. India is planning to purchase Spike anti-tank missile from Israel. SPIKE, Spike anti-tank missile from Israel. Spike is considered as third generation anti-tank missile. India have right now second generation anti-tank missiles called Concourse and Milan. They don't have night vision capabilities. So now India wanted to go for Spike anti-tank missile, the third generation missile from Israel. This missile will help India to strike the ranges more than 2.5 kilometers. Strike the range more than 2.5 kilometers. Next important current affair is 2 days back, Indian Cabinet approved India's membership in European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Our Cabinet approved India's membership in European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, a move which will help India to get better funding for its manufacturing and services sectors, particularly IT, energy, manufacturing and services sectors. European Bank for Reconstruction and Development should not be confused with European Investment Bank. European Bank for Reconstruction and Development should not be get confused with European Investment Bank. European Bank for Reconstruction and Development headquarters are located at London. It was founded in the year 1991. Headquarters are located at London. It was founded in the year 1991. It has 65 members and 2 European Union institutions. It has 65 members and 2 institutions. Here, if India wanted to become a member in European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, it should fund 1 million euros. It should fund euros, 1 million euros. So this is a very important topic. India wanted to become member in European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Coming to today's news items, Nepal's elections. Nepal's elections are being conducted in 2 phases. First phase has been completed yesterday. Around 64% voting turnout have come. Around December 7th we can get the results. 7th or 8th we can get the results of Nepal. Coming back, in Hindu's editorial today, the editorial is about insolvency and bankruptcy code. Hindu's editorial today is about insolvency and bankruptcy code. The President passed ordinance for the first time for insolvency bankruptcy code to amend it. Last year in 2016, to speed up the insolvency process, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016 has been made by the Indian Parliament. But within 12 months of the passing of the original law, an ordinance to amend the code has been done yesterday to protect genuine defaulters, at the same time not to allow willful defaulters and also promoters and management of the companies who has not paid their debts, but that too when their debt have become NPA for more than 1 year, these willful defaulters should not take refuge under the umbrella of bankruptcy insolvency code. They should not be allowed to apply for the bankruptcy insolvency court for their adjudication. So nobody should take their advantage when their mistake is involved. This is the meaning. But according to the article, it was written that not all defaulters are willful. Most of the defaulters have the money, and if they have the money, they will pay. But some defaulters genuinely want to pay back, but they won't have money. So you are penalizing in a way the genuine defaulters. How can you discriminate between a willful defaulter and a genuine defaulter? This is the major drawback of the bill. And apart from that, even the cases up before National Company Law Tribunal, which deals with willful defaulters, also now will come back to this. These cases are also will be stopped from now. So this is the major content of the article. The next important article today is a lead article, Smart Balancing China. This article is about India-China relations basically, and the prowess of China, the significance of China. The article is written by Happyman Jacob. This article is written by Happyman Jacob. The article goes like this. India has a very powerful partner, powerful neighbor, and India has to deal with the neighbor carefully. In this article, various issues were discussed. Issue number 1. China is supporting Pakistan in its terrorist activities. In UN resolutions, China is not countering Pakistan's terrorism, and most of the times China is supporting terrorist activities by not allowing to impose some prohibitions on terrorists or to name certain terrorists like Masood Azhar as international terrorist. Second thing, China is not respecting India's sovereign objections with respect to China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC. The third thing of the article, China is still claiming 90,000 kilometers Arunachal Pradesh and have a territorial ambitions on Sikkim. China is obstructing India's candidature in Nuclear Suppliers Group, NSG, and also UNSC, United Nations Security Council. China is a strong opponent of India entering into NSG. China is saying India is not a signatory of NPT. How India can become a member of NSG? Apart from that, China is showing territorial aggrandizement, particularly maritime aggrandizement. It completely occupying South China Sea. Last year, Permanent Court of Arbitration gave a judgment saying that China is at wrong in South China Sea issues with respect to Philippines case. But China completely showed the discard over Permanent Court of Arbitration judgment. China completely showed the discard over Permanent Court of Arbitration judgment. India forming a group with Quad group. India, Japan, Australia and US formed a Quad group. As we all know, Trump have shifted the American foreign policy from Atlantic to Pacific. Quad group was formed. Even Asian version of NATO, they are also talking about Asian NATO. This also have come into fore. Apart from this, in this article, the other also discussed about India-China trade. Now, the trade between India and China is $70 billion. The trade between India and China is $70 billion. China's trade with India is 3% of its global trade. India's trade with China is 3.6% of its global trade. China's trade with India is 3% of its global trade. India's trade with China is 3.6% of its global trade. But the thing is, India cannot use this trade as bargaining chip because Chinese goods are very cheap in India. Now India cannot always change its trading partners, and India cannot use trading as a bargaining chip because one thing, it is not that substantial for China, and second thing, China's goods are very cheap in India. Next aspect in the article is they have mentioned about a word called Sinophobia. Sinophobia means fear of China. Fear of China, a new term. And Sinophobia, fear of China. Second important term in the article is zero-sum game. Zero-sum game means one person's victory or one country's victory will result into other person's loss or other group's loss or other person's loss. Apart from that, in India-China article, you have various contending issues. Number one, whether we can trust India, whether we can trust USA, or whether India can completely ignore China. That India cannot do in any way. India has to work it on. Apart from that, there are various issues about China-Pakistan friendship. How many Chinese visit Pakistan? How many Chinese come to Pakistan? All those things. We need not bother. But this is the gist of the article. And in the article, there is also mention about China's involvement in Robert Mugabe's issue. Zimbabwe recently, there was a military coup and Robert Mugabe resigned. It seems that China also got involved in dismantling Mugabe's government. So, if you cannot curtail China right now, China will become a very strong power. As earlier, the leader of China, Deng Xiaoping said, hide your strength, bide your time, never claim leadership. Hide your strength, bide your time, never claim leadership. Now, China is not hiding its strength. China is now claiming leadership. China is now opening up and telling that it is going to be the true leader in the world. As we all know, in the 19th Communist Congress in China, they openly aimed at world leadership. Now China is working for that. Next important article today is Egypt. Sinai Peninsula in Egypt is in news for bad reasons, not for good reasons. The IS attacked a Sufi mosque. The IS terrorists attacked Sufi mosque, killing around 305 people. In the history of Egypt, it is one of the worst incidents, and the Sinai Peninsula is located in the Asian part of Egypt. And Sinai Peninsula, particularly Egypt, have 10% of Christian minorities. Now, IS is showing, as it have shown in Syria and Iraq, its strength by attacking the minority groups. That should be strongly detested. Now we have to take a strong call on this. Next important article is on GI tags, geographical indication tags. As we all know, with respect to intellectual property rights internationally in WTO, there is an agreement called TRIPS agreement, Trade Related Intellectual Property Rights Agreement. In that agreement, there are various provisions relating to intellectual property rights and geographical indications. India has also a separate law for geographical indications made in 1999. A unique law also called as sui generis law. In this geographical indications, there is a mention. The countries like India, it's very difficult in these countries to find out a place of origin or documentary proof for certain product. So, for example, in the article they have given about Assam. In Assam, there is a tribe called Dimasa tribe. They have the practice of making rice wine called Judima, Judima. Now, though the practice is there from time immemorial, it is very difficult to have a documentary proof that that particular Judima belongs to Dimasa tribes and Assam region, because geographical indication is a relationship between a place and a product, or a place and a particular good. So, it is very difficult to establish that again. Apart from that, in the article it was written that Article 23 of TRIPS agreement is of very much concern to India. India is highlighting the Article 23 of TRIPS agreement. Article 23 of TRIPS agreement deals with wines and spirits. Apart from that, there was one more issue that was mentioned. It's called turmeric issue. Though India won the case in turmeric issue, because we all know turmeric is a common user item in India. For healing any wound, we will apply turmeric. But it is very difficult to prove documentary proof for turmeric. But India won the case. That we have to remember. And apart from other rights, for example, copyrights. Copyright belong to individual. Patents belong to individual. Geographical indications are collective rights. Which are given for the benefit of the particular local community or tribal community. Let us work to protect better regulatory mechanisms for geographical indications. America, USA is not that particular about geographical indications. In fact, it don't want a strong law for geographical indications. Whereas Europe wants strong legal mechanism because USA does not have a very good GI regime, whereas European Union have a very good GI regime. This is about GI tax. Apart from this, there are various important articles in the newspaper, particularly about state-wise disease burden in India. About state-wise disease burden in India. This article starts with a study of disease burden in India, particularly from 1990 to 2016. Recently, this survey was released by our Vice President. Along with that, 250 scientists participated and 100 institutions participated. 250 scientists and 100 institutions participated. And along with that, some data appeared in Lancet Report also. Lancet Report is a report which deals with issues relating to health, and Lancet Report, whenever it gets released, it's very important for UPSC exam, for prelims and mains. Coming to the article, there is a term called DALY, D-A-L-Y. There is a term called DALY in the article. It is very important for the exam. DALY means disability, D-A-L-Y. DALY means disability adjusted life years, DALY, disability adjusted life years. See, generally we all consider life means full life, but old age, some times of disablement, that life though we are living, it will not work for our efficiency. So DALY means how many efficient years effectively without any disease or disability you are working for. That is important. So DALY is not that performing in India, and statewide inequality in disease burden also found. Some states disease burden is high. Particularly in India, non-communicable diseases are going up, like cardiovascular diseases, cancer, diabetes, like that non-communicable diseases are going up. The article also discussed about reasons. One is malnutrition, second is air pollution, third is other group of problems, and the article was written that there should be a planning for health sector, particularly decentralized and sub-national planning. National-wise planning for all the health problems will not work out for the country like India, because state-specific approach, region-specific approach is needed, because from state to state, region to region, the issues relating to the diseases are being differed. So we need to have a decentralized, state-specific or region-specific approach in health planning. That is the article. Apart from that, you have one more article on net neutrality. So you need not bother about what USA FCC, but you should know about net neutrality. Net neutrality means the service providers should not show any prejudice or bias on a particular website or a channel, but thereby helping the website or channel or disallowing the website or channel to be accessible. For example, when some website pays you, making the website very fast, speed of the site very fast. If some website does not pay you, making the website very slow, that means you are dictating what the customer should see, because generally customers will access the sites which are very accessible, which are user friendly. So some are not that accessible. So for that reason, the service providers should maintain net neutrality. Net neutrality as a specific topic we can discuss again. Thank you very much. These are the important current affairs today.